Hello, Internet. Welcome to another Team 84 rant and podcast. Today, we are going to be discussing some stuff about the Nintendo Switch 2, GTA 6, and Pal World, same as one of the previous podcasts we did, actually. But we are going to be talking about Terraria, some more Discord stuff, Doom the Dark Ages again, Google, PlayStation, and XAI. I hope you enjoy.
No, we won't. They won't enjoy the XAI thing anyways. So, the first topic I'm gonna talk about is Grand Theft Auto because that is my main expertise in stuff, being a Grand Theft Auto YouTuber. So
First,
Rockstar actually started Rockstar started updating Grand Theft Auto on PC more. At least they announced changes they're doing. So, what I'm more talking about is Grand Theft Auto Online expanded and enhanced that came to consoles, Xbox, and PlayStation a little bit ago. Those are changes are coming to PC now. They announced the release date. I'm pretty sure within the next few months of time of recording, and it's supposed to bring GTA Online's GTA Plus to PC. It's supposed to also add ray tracing. I'm pretty sure, at least mild ray tracing, and a few other things. It's gonna be
so
interesting.
I just had to ask. I don't play GTA. I don't really have the game. But is there a reason why it was never brought to PC, or was there a reason it was never given these upgrades when PC consumers would probably be the biggest people for online, considering it would have probably the best access to a lot of this?
Okay, so it was never confirmed, but I feel it's because of the cheating problem that was on the game before, with the game's anti-cheat just being horrible on PC. They recently implemented a thing called, I think it's Battle Eye, or something similar to that effect, which is an anti-cheat, and it seems after they did that, they're focusing a lot more on their PC resources. And it's going to be actually very interesting because they're also possibly looking to add Discord rich presence support according to changes in the Rockstar launcher. So that they might backport that to their games too.
I think it's really nice they're going to be finally updating this game that has been on PC for a while. I also will say that it is really interesting that I think I forgot my point here. But hold on, no, I have it. This is where the podcast starts to get really fun. My brain just did a total wipe. I am so sorry. No, but so GTA 6 seems like it's gonna be, or they talked about wanting to make it a console exclusive for a long time, and they did say it was because they wanted to prevent people from getting it for free using piracy. But I wonder if it does also have to do with that cheating issue a lot of times they were experiencing with GTA 5, rather than just it being a piracy issue. And
It something about that I feel is it's gonna happen in either way, but I feel they want to at least personally, in my opinion, they might want to actually reduce the amount of mods near the game's launch because those get a lot of attention. So maybe they want more focus on the game itself than what the community is doing with it. And this might tie somewhat into 5M or similar because they are just yeah, it might be also similar to 5M. They might want to make into a metaverse according to a few sources, if that makes any sense. And they seem to be doing a lot, at least it seems like they want to do a lot going up to the Grand Theft Auto 6 marketing, as they now launched their own official Discord that's not 5M's. They're it seems they're backporting Discord retro presence to stuff, so it seems like they have a thing with Discord going on. And according to a meeting or investors call, they might be looking to still support GTA Online, but is it going to be worth playing anymore or even getting into? Because according to the investors called leaks, they said that they have a willingness to support legacy titles. So does that mean they're going to keep on life support, still keep the servers online, whatever? Or are they going to do with something like what Valve did with Team Fortress 2 for a while and not update it and just keep it online but not touch it? Or are they going to keep adding more content? I actually don't know yet. No one knows.
I think that keeping titles that have an online feature alive is a really good thing. Even if a lot less people be using it in future updates, I do personally believe keeping it online available is a good idea. I mean, not always. Sometimes it won't be profitable for a company, but it's a nice thing. Like for instance, they for this is an old thing. There was a VR game where you float around and throw a disc. Uh Career Fire 25, if you could please help me try to remember what the name of this game is.
I'm pretty sure it was called Echo VR.
Yeah, Echo VR. One of the marketing team of Meta was given a promotion and not only took it down the online, but took down the service as well, so it could not be given a custom held localization version of it. So there was no way to play the game anymore after that, which is truly tragic. Uh, no one wants to speak next. Thank you.
Going back to Grand Theft Auto 5, uh, they plan to release the expanded enhanced on PC. There are changing the system requirements for the ray tracing and stuff. However, they're going to allow players to play the legacy version, or what is so called legacy version, as a lot of players' devices will not support the new system requirements, according to them. So they're going to keep both online at this time. However, players playing on Expanded Enhanced can't play with Legacy. Legacy can't play with Expanded Enhanced. So it's going to be kind of splitting the PC market up in two. However, this is also going to help compatibility with 5M servers, which is community roleplay, custom modes, whatever the community decides to do with it.
I am not entirely sure. I've been paying a decent bit of attention, but I've had to deal with something else, so I don't know if we talked about the specific point already, but I know even out of the podcast we were talking about why if they didn't allow crossplay on something like GTA 6, how it would essentially be screwing themselves out of a lot of potential marketable customers because of the fact that there are some people who are probably only going to get the game to play with their friends. But when we go back to the conversation we had about the influx of hackers or other people who are trying to pirate the game, I can kind of see why, but at the same time, I still kind of do feel like if they even just enabled some basic form of crossplay, it would absolutely skyrocket their sales because of how big of a like GTA 6 is going to make or break Rockstar. This is a game people have been wanting for a long time, and literally I'm pretty sure the trailer that when it dropped literally broke the record for the most amount of views in 24 hours on YouTube ever, and it hit like 100 million within a day. So like every decision they make for GTA 6 right now, even with either connecting or not connecting to 5, is going to be a huge thing.
I do want to spin off from this in a bit, so I will make sure that I'm going to be on. Let me talk really quick after this. So if anyone has any less things to add to it, please cue yourself.
I had one more thing to
Oh,
add.
yeah, I was just saying, please stay in queue. Uh, I will say that I don't think that there should be a huge removal from PC marketing because I do believe GTA 6 will be huge on PC as well, even if it's going to be super limited or not super limited, sorry, bad choice of words. Even if they do have to add a lot of extra security, I believe that they should still be trying to sell it with PC because that is still a huge market and a lot of people who may not have a console or may not want to get a console will be able to play it on their the native device without having to worry about it. And I do think that they are going to try to do something where they want people to buy it on multiple devices, because that's just something some companies try to do. For example, Destiny 2. They don't let you cross, they let you play your character across devices, but they don't let you keep anything else. So it's, well, you get to keep your weapons and stuff, but not like your DLCs or campaigns or much. It's really annoying.
Something I am concerned about with 6, a possibility not confirmed, is them wanting to still be too realistic, having to go to a car trunk to get weapons, having to take care of your car fuel, or stuff like that. To me, that just doesn't seem like it'll be fun gameplay wise. I know a lot of people like it, especially with Red Dead, but for me, uh, that just doesn't sound too fun, really. Yeah.
I think too much realism in a game can suck. Like, for instance, when Black Ops 6's original trailers were dropping, people were talking about it. No one wanted super realism. Like, when you're playing or Call of Duty, you want that Call of Duty art style in there even a little bit, which was a good choice. Went back and fixed, even though the game is now unfortunately getting in a worse and worse state. Anyways, Terraria. I just want to do a quick game here, so we have large and quick. Is getting a massive update with their newest collaboration with Palworld. They are going to add crossplay, something people have been talking about for years and years and years. And it's a little weird right now because a lot of games are actually not, or a lot of users are actually disliking Terraria again. It's something that happens every few years. But I personally still love the game. Well, probably always still love the game. They're still adding a ton to the game, even though they keep saying they're going to quit doing that. I'm never going to judge them for that. I love their game. I like it. But my only concern is there is a lot of platform exclusive content. An example of this would be, if I can open this up, but I also can name off the top of my head, the Android follower. But there's also stuff like equipable artifacts, and a lot of these I don't even remember. But there's even a boss. He's on a console 3DS exclusive, but removed on mobile, called Okram. It's a crab skull thing. Basically, I'm wondering if they do add this crossover feature talking about, are they going to remove these characters? Are they going to add? Are they going to remove all of this exclusive stuff? Are they going to make it so every console can use it? Or is it going to be a thing where the native console can use it, but everyone can interact with it? Like, you can't drop it for other players, but they can see you have it.
I mean, I think a game like Terraria would be super easy to implement specific crossplay features for. I don't know too much about the bosses and everything, which is why I really have anything to say about it until this moment. But I feel like you can see it even in same device or same console play already. Like I don't mean gameplay wise, I mean looks wise. Terraria seems to be a very simple game, so maybe I don't understand it, but it doesn't seem like there would really be too much of an issue with certain things like that. Maybe like I'm not entirely sure if they're gonna go the route where certain devices can only have certain items, which would be stupid, and I really hope they don't go that route. But I I could easily envision at least a couple ways where they could make crossplay at least fluid in some capacity.
I personally am not a big fan of the game. I don't hate it, but it's not something I'm ever gonna go out of my way to play. Last time I actually actively played it, I believe was on the Xbox 360 and era of Terraria, which I believe was like a completely separate build or something similar to that effect. Yeah, for me, while I don't like it, I think it should have crossplay. It's most games nowadays at least should have some form of crossplay. If it's a code system, if a friend system, it just helps almost every game. And nowadays, if Fortnite can do crossplay between Switch, which is very underpowered, and consoles like PS5, I don't think a game like Terraria would have too big of an issue. That's my That's what I have to say about it.
This is a pretty bad segue, but speaking of the Switch, Nintendo officially removed a feature that a lot of people liked, which was the Nintendo Gold program, which, for anybody who doesn't know how it works, when you made a purchase on Switch, it would save these gold points and they would count towards actual money. Not a lot of actual money, but if you kept making purchases like for games, you would keep racking up gold points. And then you could, if you had enough, theoretically just get like a $10 to $20 game with these gold points for free. And to put it lightly, people are not happy about it whatsoever.
Correct me if I'm wrong. I'm pretty sure it's only for games that were released within, I think, 3 years. So if you got anything older, it didn't work. And if you got a cartridge, a lot of times it wouldn't work if they were an older game. So that would be really unfortunate, especially if you go out and buy an older game. And you didn't get a lot of tokens. Was it like 100, which is $1 every 60, every like new game you bought, which is like $60 to $70. Like Mario Golf, which is $72. I cannot believe that.
I think that most game platforms nowadays should have something like that, as long as it's not an indie studio. I mean, like the major three should continue having a customer rewards program like that, like Xbox having Microsoft Rewards, PlayStation having. I'm not entirely sure what PlayStation is called, but I'm pretty sure they have a thing similar to that, and even the Epic Game Store on PC has a few features where you get basically cash or money back that you can spend on future things. It's like Nintendo. This is not that hard. It's a basic thing. Don't shut that down.
PlayStation's was called PlayStation Points, and it has been down for a unfortunate amount of time. They are trying to bring it back, and there's been a few efforts. It's a little sad the state it's in, but they are trying to make sure PlayStation Points comes back effectively. I don't know if many people even know what it is because it's a program not a ton of people used when it was in its most effective state.
Honestly, to answer Typical Thieves' question, it's pure greed. Nintendo is known at this point for being an extremely money greedy company, and I could be wrong, but I feel like the literal only reason why they removed it is because greed.
Uh, I'm only spiraling this off for a second, so I'm only going to make one of the points on this. For Pal World, you can see the greed of Nintendo because they're not able to go after a lot of the things they wanted to go after because Pal World is its own unique game, especially now they're adding more unique content. But Nintendo keeps taking out patents that are stuff literally like throwing something in a three-dimensional world. Throwing an object at an entity in a three-dimensional world is a entire patent, which could literally be throwing a rock at an enemy. And Nintendo has breached other copyrights and even patents, such as the synchronization towers from Ubisoft.
I think that they should really Nintendo is. I don't support them, I generally just do not support Nintendo. I don't own anything Nintendo. The only time I've ever bought something for Nintendo was buying a Switch charger for someone's birthday. That's the most I ever really supported Nintendo on anything. And it's just I don't know if I can really support a company that is that greedy, that anti-consumer. Because people are like, oh, they make so great games, sure, but I just can't morally support a company like that. That's what I'm saying. It's just not. I can't do that morally.
I'll apologize in advance because there were a couple quick points I wanted to like scour over before making the segue. But that's like another big reason personally why I cannot and will not like the Switch 2. I know you guys have discussed it before. I just wanted to at least give my 2 cents on it for a second. No matter how you look at it, at least in my eyes, there is always going to be at least a couple things wrong with the fact that the Nintendo Switch 2 exists. If I'm not even saying like people's arguments are bad because they're not. I'm just saying the way I view it. If you make the argument that you can make a like more powerful console with the Switch 2, I remind people of the fact that Nintendo openly had the option to make the Switch 1 way stronger, like graphics wise, and they outright refused to and to make way for other things that weren't as important. And I completely forgot what second point I was going to make. Oh yeah, the Switch adapter, the only reason I buy one at this point is just because it can also function as a basic USB-C charger for my phone. I don't even use it for my Switch anymore. But a company that, if you know a decent bit about it, could also be considered a little greedy is id Software, because the new Doom game that is coming out does not have the classic Mick Gordon doing the soundtrack anymore, and how this connects to money is the fact that he has been very open with pay disputes with id Software, feeling that he has not been paid enough and that the environment that id Software promotes is both toxic and in poor leadership state. So for this new Doom game, they had to go to Microsoft's basically all reliable, which, if I can remember what the name of it is known as Finishing Move, who has made music for games like Borderlands 3 and Halo Wars 2. So people are hopeful that the soundtrack will still be good, but they're also understandably upset that the guy who, I remind you, literally sampled actual chainsaw noises for one of the Doom soundtracks is no longer going to be part of it.
It is a massive shame that we do not have him anymore. He did make a lot of great music for the games, and I generally enjoyed all of them that I have played. I've not played every Doom game. I'll be forth with that. There's been a lot of spin-off ones even, but I played most of the main ones. Uh, I did want to make a point with the Switch 2, which is it's fine they want to continue making devices or continue making better ones, but the huge issue of it seems like with the original Switch, they were just jumping into it unprepared, and then I know they had to limit a lot of stuff due to the battery life of it, but there's a lot of things I feel like they could have done even with some of their other stuff. Instead of going all in the community built cardboard sets you can get, which I know some of it is officially made by Nintendo. I know actually a lot of it might be, but they did just go headfirst into the cardboard stuff instead of actually anything else, which was really weird. But yeah,
I think that I feel game soundtracks make a huge difference on stuff because, for example, Nintendo before launched a app for, I think it was Android or iOS or maybe both. But it was basically an app that's solely dedicated to listening to Nintendo's soundtrack, which you could just do on YouTube. Firstly, I don't know why you need a separate app with a subscription, because there's a lot of games where the soundtracks I absolutely love. I have them favorited on Spotify, YouTube. Borderlands is one of them. That soundtrack is really good. The Microsoft Story soundtrack is really good. There's a lot of game soundtracks that's just really good. They need a lot of appreciation, especially because of the creative directive behind it. But just like sound, keep the original person if everyone loved them. Your game will perform so much better. I feel it's gonna probably hurt your game sales at this point. Not keeping McGordon there.
See, I love this feature, but now I have a lot that I want to point out again. I'll stick on the topic of Doom for now. I'll make this point really quick. I just wanted to point out the fact that also people are saying that the new Doom game itself, music wise, will be a quote more grounded experience as they are removing both the double jump and dashing features. The dashing feature was only really prominent in Eternal, but people overall liked that feature, so there's been mixed reviews as to why they are removing it, but one of the developers did in fact confirm that they are going for a more grounded experience, as I mentioned before, and even went back and took a lot from the original Doom to use as inspiration for the new game. But if you literally to agree with Typical Thieves' earlier point, if you want more evidence that Nintendo is extremely greedy, hell, even for Doom, they will upload official soundtracks to their YouTube channel or topic YouTube channels that you can listen to for free. And most Nintendo games even I can't say for Mario games, but I can say for Kirby games because even though I don't like Nintendo, I still like playing a Kirby game every now and again. The last game I played, which is Kirby and the Rainbow Curse, literally has a feature where you can listen to each soundtrack individually in game without any subscription. So the only reason they even made that Nintendo Music thing is literally just for pure greed. Like, I believe Nintendo as a whole is losing money because of all the dumb stuff they're doing, and this kind of just proves that they're desperate for more of it.
I feel like personally for things like maybe arguing over a paycheck over how much you want to get, how much you think you should get paid for a making music, and for a app that can be used for listening to certain songs from a certain company. I think those have uses, not great uses. I will say. Well, hold on. I should probably separate the two. I think making an app for music from your games, I don't think that's like an amazing thing. I think that's something that some things can do, but not for a huge, not for a subscription price, especially not as big. And a lot of times, some people can get too demanding for money. I don't think Gordon was. I think he's asking for a fair price from everything I've seen. And I will say, sometimes music in games does generally get you hyped. For instance, Borderlands 2, I loved the song that came on, even though it wasn't like a great, huge song. It was just a bit of a sound clip and everything that you got when you entered the, I want to say, first major boss fight with Boom Boom, and I loved it. It was a great thing. Started getting me excited for the fight. I actually really, when I was younger, just kept playing that fight over and over because I just loved the feeling of it.
For me, I think that a lot of game soundtracks though are really good. I would be more forgiving to Nintendo though if they like actually like if it was like maybe a free app, not a subscription one. If they didn't take down a bunch of YouTube videos because of it, if they didn't start sending strikes, I would be more forgiving. If it was like something they just launched because they can and they want to, sure, that provides value. That is cool. But the fact that they're making it a subscription, not just like a paid app, it's a subscription based thing. You need Nintendo Online to do it. You need an active,
Yeah,
reoccurring subscription.
yeah, that was just bad taste in my mouth. Yuck.
Yeah, some game soundtracks I actually do really love. Some of them is again Microsoft's Ori. Call of Duty Black Ops 6 has really good soundtrack. Uh, a lot of them actually do. Some of them are they bought the licenses for some existing music. Some of them they just hired. Call of Duty is just really good with that type of stuff. Um, Minecraft. Oh, don't get me started with Minecraft. This the Warner Bros. Started sending letters, or not letters, but strikes or notices to YouTubers for using Minecraft soundtrack in their videos, which is not that great. From what I hear, the original creator of it, C418, is looking into getting that to stop. However, C418 can only do so much, but uh, from what I hear, it's being worked on. It wasn't intentional, probably, but come on, don't do that to us, man. What's your guys' favorite soundtracks? Though I want to know.
I'm I was gonna point out I've never played any of the Persona games, but I played a different game that had a Persona theme in it called All Face Myself, and as we're recording this, I'm literally listening to it right now because it's a banger. But a couple things. One, the Minecraft stuff. I believe personally that is just Warner Brothers being really greedy as well, especially with the evidence that C418 is trying to get it to stop. And I believe the reason why mainly, this is probably obvious, but I'll go into it a little more, the movie stuff. And even without the movie, I think the fact that now they were asked to help with the movie, they're all high and mighty and feel like, oh, so now we own Minecraft, we can do all of this stuff with it, and it's basically just the original creators being like, why are you guys doing this? We're completely chill with it. Which also goes back into Nintendo saying that if you use Nintendo music as backgrounds, they will get really upset about it. Which, speaking of Nintendo, there was another point I forgot to point out. It is rumored that the Switch 2 is going to have two variants, quote unquote, that you can buy on release. One of them being a version that only allows digital bought games, like from the Nintendo shop or whatever, which is going to be $400 even. But there is also a version that is going to be cartridge specific, or cartridge compatible, one of the two. Basically, one of them is going to be able to use cartridges and the other one isn't. But the thing is that the version with the cartridge is going to cost $50 more on release than the version without the digital one. And I know some people like the Switch 2, but personally I think that just makes an already pointless console even more stupid.
So for a lot of devices, the reason that, or for most consoles, I should say, not a lot of devices, the reason a lot of them have that alternate option is rather because when they first released the most recent generation of console, there was a huge debate on whether or not they go for digital only. And Nintendo hasn't had that issue, so I don't think that Nintendo should be trying to have a fix for that issue when they don't have it to begin with. It seems a lot more greedy than anything to make people have to rebuy games with cartridge or that they have on cartridge. And to answer a previous question, I don't really listen to game soundtracks outside of what they're from, but I did really listen to a lot of Payday 2's heisting tracks because there's stuff like Razor Mind, I Will Give It My All, and I just really like those ones because they just make me feel very amped up. And I had another point that I can't remember now because there's just we keep making a lot of points.
That sucks for you.
Womp womp, I guess.
I guess, yeah. True. So I don't know, a lot of games that you guys deserve a lot more for the stuff. So that brings us into Pal World, guys. I'm not the one who's about to talk about this, so you talk about it.
I thought we were going to go to a completely different point, but
Okay,
I did kind of want to.
go to your point. Go to your point.
I first wanted to bring up, I forgot to mention this, but I know I talk about this game a lot, but the Subnautica 1 soundtrack truly is some of the best music I've ever heard in a video game. Like, I won't sit and rant about it for 20 minutes, but for a game like that, for a lot of games in general, having a good soundtrack is one thing, but having an incredibly immersive soundtrack that literally takes you into the game and hits you in the feels is something I value a lot more than just like even with Doom, like it works a lot well. Yeah, I can totally speak. It works really well because putting heavy metal music into, I don't know, Minecraft would be like whatever. I like heavy metal as a whole and I listen to a lot of rock bands, but for that, you're literally, as the game says, ripping and tearing. So having really loud heavy metal music to go with the fact that you're shooting these awesome guns and tearing demons apart really immerses you in it. And a lot of, I could name multiple Subnautica themes off the top of my head that really actually immerse you in it. And I feel like even now a lot of people sleep on that soundtrack. But one topic I did want to point out, even though I wasn't really affected by it too much, is PlayStation Online or whatever going down for over a day and them giving people, if my sources are correct and if I remember this correctly, they gave people free online for an extremely brief period of time due to the major outage, and there was some kind of conflicting information about it.
It was a week, which is kind of funny because I also only missed a week of it. I was gone. I left and had no internet for a week, so I got that. I basically got exactly how much time I left for back, which is really funny to me. But I wanted to say I also remember the point I wanted to make that we said Womp Womp on, which was the original artist for a lot of Minecraft's music. He actually released a album of a lot of music he wanted to get into Minecraft. I forget what's called that he would have done for free, and he also wanted to work for Minecraft or Microsoft's Minecraft again. He really wanted to make a lot of the more music, but he doesn't know why they didn't just hire him back for some of it instead of went with a bunch of other artists, which I find a little odd because that person made a lot of the best Minecraft music to ever exist, and then they just didn't contact him about him. They just left him dry. They he offered, he wants it. He's been making tweets about how much he wants to go back and make more music for it, and there's just been no talk about it from Microsoft.
Yeah, you really needed to support your musicians more because like without your musicians, you can have a great written game, but you if you don't do your soundtrack well, it's not gonna go out well for you. You need to do your soundtrack well. It's basically law unless you do something atmospheric. Some games you can 100% get away without a soundtrack. It is perfectly fine because you can do that, like build it into the atmosphere. Maybe make it like if you especially a horror game, that is completely fine. I think. I
I
don't
was
like.
just about to bring up that point where horror games, you don't need this really high stinger, like a really high octane soundtrack because the whole point is you're supposed to be scared. And a lot of instances you can get away with literally having dead silence, and I can speak to a few games where there have been scenes where there's literally nothing but sound effects, and it's even more terrifying than if there was like this really creepy music in the background. I can't remember what game it was. It was like a PT ripoff where there was like slowly crescendoing music throughout the whole thing as the whole game, you know, went to shit. I'm trying to watch my swearing at least a little bit, but then as soon as you go through the door again, there's complete and dead silence, and it gives you the idea like, is something about to happen? Like, why did everything stop? And I think it hits way harder, unironically, without any music. But to answer Trevin Pro's earlier point, another game that had the thing where the developers put a massive playlist of stuff that they wanted to include for music but didn't is Little Big Planet. The I don't remember his name, but one of the first guys who worked on the soundtrack collection for Little Big Planet went on Spotify and made a playlist called like the Alternate Universe playlist and explained that these were all songs that were originally conceptualized, to be in Little Big Planet, and they just never got added. And a lot of people have listened to it and have said that pretty much every single track in there sounds literally like something you would hear in the game. And a lot of people are questioning why, not like in a mean way, but a lot of people are questioning why a lot of the music didn't make it in. And I think the dev himself just said there were so many good options that we just had to go with the best ones, which, again, Little Big Planet's soundtrack is literally so good as well.
I was about to make that point at the end. There is only so much they can do in a lot of games. Things like Minecraft, I think they could do more with. I know that they're trying to make it limit disc or music disc limited, but they could still try to add some of those other songs. And maybe they don't want to because it's more of a free song now that it's not released under them. They still could have reached out to the guy. I'm just saying. But for Little Big Planet, there is only so much they could have done because they have so many songs in that. So many. And I do love it. I kind of wish they had it at least available for the Moon, where you could even insert your own. They have like their own play the music you want to hear in the game, and I feel like they could have added more of that. I love the old Moon features. I, I think that creating your own game is amazing. I still feel so sad that they had to take down the first couple games online because of a lot of people messing with it. And I don't remember exactly what it was. I think it was they were getting hacked a lot, and it happened to three so many times that they ended up just shutting down the online for it. But back to Pal World, because we're actually running out of things to talk about in the subject we were on. The Pal World lawsuit update. They've already had to make some accommodations for some of the patents to make sure that nothing was going too scary. For instance, you used to be able. This one is, further than I can see, mostly alleged, but it looks like it's legit, and I believe that this is. One of the things was summoning an ally in a three-dimensional world and being able to move them, basically. So the issue was if you threw your pal sphere and it landed near an enemy, and you could have it attack a group of enemies, which is really something I did. I just kept throwing them at a far distance. You can no longer do that. You have to summon them next to you because it's less patent infringement-ish. Because a lot of these patents, again, I want to clarify this for the people who don't fully know. I don't want to say they don't understand it, but a lot of these were stuff like summoning a person in a 3D world, which is done in a lot of games. There's stuff like throwing a three-dimensional object at another creature, and a lot of these patents aren't even valid because they were done in games before Pokemon did it. So a lot of these didn't hold as much weight as they should have, especially some that weren't even able to be used because they were used by Pocket Pair before. In one of the previous games, in order to move animals around, because they had a big open world game, you could actually do a lot of real stuff in, and there's real animals and stuff. You had to move the animals using spheres, which is just convenient. In some games, they don't even let you throw it, but you'll summon them back, and they're just these little white dots that fly towards you. Or, well, not always white, but you get little dots that follow you for a few seconds. That's a mechanic that could still infringe on such a broad copyright. A broad copyright that covers so much stuff it doesn't need to cover. I shouldn't say we, me and one of our stream team have played the game on Team 84. It was fun, and I'm pretty sure it was on Team 84 when me and the stream team did it. It was a really fun game from the state we were playing it after. So we played it in then, it was still pretty fun, but it wasn't as good as it is now. And I hope that in the game in the future does become more and more fun as they keep adding more and more content that is not related to Pokemon or Arc. They've added some systems I have not seen in games for even quite a while, actually. And I just really hope they continue to making the game that's more flushed out in the way they want to. I really like it. However, there was some new patents accepted by America that might throw this whole thing on its head and actually end up screwing over a lot of the patents that have expired, making them so they actually work again. Which, if it happens, could become an issue. Anyone? Thank you.
I just was trying to get rid of the awkward silence, to be honest with you.
Thank you. Thank you.
But I don't know. Like I said, I enjoy a Kirby game every so often. It's literally in my name, and I do honestly will enjoy going back to some of the newer ones. And if they were to release a new one, I don't know if I'd buy a Switch 2 just to play it, but like if I had the opportunity, I would definitely give it a try. But it's become, I think we've made this point earlier, it's become harder and harder to support Nintendo because of the fact that if there is I couldn't bring any details up off the top of my head because my memory is notoriously bad, but I remember a few examples where Nintendo has literally said, okay, this game uses something that looks minusculely similar to something we've done in the past. Let's send all the lawyers after him and sue him into absolute oblivion until we have every single last cent he has. And as Typical Thief said before, it's extremely hard to support a company that is that hardcore greedy, and it's another big reason why I'm probably not ever going to outright support Nintendo if I ever can. I'm gonna literally sell my Switch the second I'm done with this Dark Souls thing I'm doing because honestly, if they improve in the future, maybe, but for right now, it's laughably bad how much they are putting money over listening to the actual people who still are fans of them.
I feel personally that that it's not. I want to have an opinion already, and it's not gonna be good. However, I want to know how the Switch 2 is gonna work. Is it gonna be more of a generational refresh? Because if it is, they should explicitly say that. By generational refresh, I mean the Microsoft probably should have done this. With the Xbox Series XS, I feel that was more of a generational refresh because it uses, from what I can tell, the same exact operating system as the previous generation of console. They upgraded the hardware, right? But from what I can tell, it's the same exact operating system, the same exact UI. It functions basically the same. It just has a more powerful hardware, so the games can do more with that hardware. So it's going to be somewhat like that, where it's the same operating system and everything. They just completely changed the hardware, or is it going to be more of a? Is it going to be more of a the full on new console like the PlayStation, where they completely did their operating system, new UI, gave a fresh coat of paint to everything? Because from what I can tell, it's probably going to be a generational refresh, so they should probably just say it's a generational refresh if they're going to do anything.
Really quickly, I just want to put into English what you said, and I just want you to correct me if I'm wrong. So you're trying to say that there's a big difference with how I'm just going to use PlayStation for example, because that's what I'm most used to. For PlayStation, there's stuff like the initial release of the product after they manage to make it so that a lot of the hardware doesn't need to be as bulky, and then a version where they optimize it for power without sacrificing a lot of that size reduction. So it's the normal, slim, and I think the newest one was called Pro, or I think is it usually called Pro? I don't really remember. Is that an English way to say what you're saying?
No, what I'm saying is I'm asking if it's just going to be a generational refresh. For example, are they going to be completely changing the operating system, how the device functions, or like software wise, or is they just gonna keep the same? Are they gonna keep the same software, but just change the hardware a bit? Because with what
That's what I was. Yeah, that's basically what I was saying. They're changing the hardware for 4s until they get to 5, where it's a completely new operating system, completely new everything.
Because
That's a,
either way,
yeah.
it's not bad to do either one. But I'm just really curious to know if are they going to be changing a lot, or if they're just going to be changing the hardware. Because if they're changing the hardware, that is perfectly fine. But it just seems. I just want to know. Come on, Nintendo, give us the details.
One other point I was gonna make was actually I don't remember it right now, so I'm supposed to pass the mic. Dang.
So I cannot tell you absolutely everything, but I can answer some of that. From what I have seen, number one, the Switch 2 is going to be like 15% bigger than the other ones, or than the original Switch. Number two, even with the point made that it's going to be stronger, I still cannot support it because, again, they literally had, well, not millions, obviously, but they had a lot of opportunities to make the original Switch, even while the original Switch was still in production on the line. They could have very easily made it stronger and just refused to. But basically, it is going to, from what I've heard, have a very similar operating system to the original Switch. But I don't think that is more so in a generational refresh sense. I think it is straight up just Nintendo being lazy because the only things I've noticed, because I watched the trailer, and so I wouldn't like shit on it without properly knowing a lot about it. I also watched a couple videos where people like broke down the trailer, which is also why I again stand by the opinion that it is the most pointless console ever. But to the credence that I was just getting into, basically it's basically, it seems like they're doing it on a whim. They're just saying, like, for example, the whole fact that you can turn the Joy-Cons into a mouse. Even from them, it just seems like a, you know what, this sounds
Allegedly.
funny, we should do it. Allegedly. It just sounds like a thing where they're like, okay, this sounds funny, let's do it. And there's no actual thought behind it. So most companies will do a generational refresh on purpose to, I guess, regain interest in everything and kind of start the formula again. Whereas Nintendo, I think it is purely just because they are being lazy and they don't really know where to go from here.
I don't think there's a really issue with generational refreshes, but yeah.
I think that it's perfectly fine to have something like the mouse mode if they use it for games like how the Wii used to. Because I love the Wii. I think that's probably one of the best devices they've released. I think it's the only one I think I'd ever buy really again. But Nintendo, I just want to point out really quick, has broken a lot of patents with other companies, like as I mentioned earlier, Ubisoft. And I just wanted to reiterate that because it's not like that Pal World's exclusively going and copying all of Nintendo's patents just to copy a game. It's something that a lot of games suffer from because these are either really broad or Nintendo breaks really specific ones sometimes, even like synchronization towers, the ability to go up to a tower and use it, and then it gives you a not only a big map, but you also can see all the stuff around it. It's a very big, very interesting mechanic that is patented, and it is a lot more specific than throwing an object at a creature in a three-dimensional space. And now to transition into this, Discord is looking to do a redesign. I personally don't know too much about this. I'm going to pass on to someone who knows a lot more, actually.
So from what has been shown so far, and from users who's already gotten it, because it seems they're flighting it in stages to different users. They seem to be trying to change some of the design language to more be kind of blocky, full blocky than how it is right now on desktop, which I personally I think it's fine. However, I don't think it's really necessary because how it is right now is, I think it looks fine as it is right now. But they don't seem to. They are being don't do it, Discord. I know you're going to probably anyways, but all and most people seem to not really like it. So the design language just want to be more like mobile. Come on.
I mean, they did approve the short links one, which was a really fun change they did. But I don't know if I like all these redesigns for the stuff like Google's trying to make everything really bubbly, which I've always had a really weird issue with. because a lot of it, there's not even a need to do that. It's just something that exists there, and they just put a bubble around it, so now everything in your screen is a bunch of circles, which is odd. I mean, I can kind of understand something like the subscribe button where it's a box. You can redesign that, but some of these are just like things that wouldn't have a bubble around them that now have a bubble around them, and there's a lot of bubbles, and everything's soft and curvy, and it makes me have issues.
I think what a lot of companies, at least in my opinion, forget is the old saying, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. In the sense that, I mean, obviously, if there's problems, you want to work out said problems, but if there is literally nothing wrong, they still feel the need, or they still are compelled to be like, oh, well, we haven't done anything in a while, we should change something, just to either feel busy or feel like they're obligating to users, when in actuality, again, if it's not broke, don't fix it. If we're fine with the current design, then we don't need somebody coming in and messing with it just so that they can feel like they're busy. I don't know. That's just my take on it.
I think there should be a lot more of a. There should be. They should be allowed to add customization features, or innovate, or do these things. How about let's just play a little game really quick. Let's drop. Let me talk for a second. No queuing. Let's come up with a new phrase for it that allows a lot more creativity, but also doesn't, you know, force redesigns and everything. You want to do that really quick?
Sure.
Sure.
All right. If it ain't broke, don't break it.
I
Okay.
mean, that's better than anything I could ever come up with.
No, come on, throw an idea in, even if you don't like it. Come on, you gotta do it, or else you're fired from the Water Bottle Podcast.
If it works, don't change. If no one's complaining, don't touch it.
I have a phrase in mind, but I'm trying to find a snappier way to say it. Uh, I literally can't think of the word. There's
Give
a word
options,
literally.
not restrictions.
There's a word. There's a
Ooh,
word literally for what I'm trying to say, and I can't think of the word. It's gonna make this sentence flow so much better.
I like give options, not restrictions. I like that.
Monotony's not a problem. I don't know if monotony's the word I'm trying to think of, but
Man, you made
monotony
me
is
forget
not a
every
problem.
word of possible existence. What the heck are you talking about?
There's a better word, but I can't think of it.
No, I think that there should be like a themes option in a lot of these that they aren't giving. Like, I think that there should be a lot more options. And I know that no, they can't always give them, or there's sometimes restrictions on it, but I think they should. Everyone done with everyone giving their 2 cents on that.
Yeah. We'll move on.
All right, let's move on to the Google has apparently removed some of the cultural events from the U.S., which has sparked backlash and was apparently allegedly done last year, which I don't know if that's true, but it theoretically could be because a lot of these might not show up until then. I don't know if anyone has anything they want to talk about on that, and we are going to be on Let Me Talk again. So you're going to be mentioning.
I don't have anything to say.
Use Let Me Talk to say that. Repeat that on Let Me Talk. Come on, man.
No,
Play by the rules. We got to use our own thing. We got to use our own thing. No talking. You got to wait until it's your.
I don't have anything to say about that current subject, of which is Google moving cultural events from the calendar. Apparently, it's because of a deal with some time organization, and it's becoming a headache for them to do. From what I heard, it was becoming a headache for them to do because there's so many places and cultural ones around the world, and everything is shifting so quickly. But the Google, like, that's your job. You're supposed to be the all knowledgeable. Come on, man. You're the all knowledgeable person here.
I totally know this off the top of my head and didn't just look up an article that says everything I need to know, but The main issue is that, again, as you said, they are removing cultural events such as Pride Month and Black History from being highlighted on their calendar app. And people like The Verge have reported that other cultural events no longer appear, and some of those include Indigenous People Month, Holocaust Remembrance Day, Jewish Heritage, and Hispanic Heritage. And said change was discovered the same week that Google Maps renamed the Gulf of Mexico to the Gulf of America, unironically. Which we're not going to talk about that whole thing, but it just happened to be in the same week. Some members of the public posting on Google's support pages believe that this isn't a coincidence. I'm going to skip that part because we're not getting political. However, Google asserts that the calendar change is not related to the political landscape and that it has been in place for multiple months. I don't know how true or false that is, but it seems like them claiming that this has been in place for months when people are just now noticing it. That, I don't know, that seems a little off because I know not a lot of people use. Actually, I can't make that claim. I was going to say not a lot of people use outright calendars anymore, but I feel like it would have been a big thing months ago if it truly was put in place months ago.
I often use my phone's calendar for stuff. I just normally put down dates I need to remember there, and my phone reminds me like the day before, and then a few hours before. And I don't know, it just helps me stay organized. Uh, if I didn't have a calendar app, where would I be in life, right?
Man, screw calendars. I haven't had one God knows how long. I'm too lazy.
I
I
don't
just
know.
remember dates.
It came with my phone, so
Mine came with my Xbox. I have that, but mine didn't come with my Xbox. It's the oldest Xbox known to man.
it's the loneliest. So, also Twitter launched uh Grok 3, which is um having a lot of people cancel their Twitter premium plans because Twitter Premium Plus was $16 a month a few months ago. Then they raised the price to $22 a month, which that itself is absurd. Now they raised it again after just a few months to $50 a month from 22. So within this year, it went from not within like the last 5 months or 4 months, it went from $16 a month to 50. And this is to collaborate with them launching Grok 3, which from what I heard is on par with the old Chat GPT and is not that good with most things. Which, to be fair to it, Chat GPT's premium plan costs $200 a month. So to be fair to them about that, their competition costs like 1,000 times more than what they cost. However, that's still absurd. What it's supposed to give you is a blue check mark, which gets many, which just go on Twitter, go in the comments. It gets you made fun of on the platform. Access to their AI, which isn't really that good, and no to reduced ads, which is kind of pathetic. If you're paying for, even if it's $8 a month, you still get no ads. It's just pathetic. The price, 50 a month.
First of all, $200 a month. Holy shit, ChatGPT, Jesus.
They have a lower price tier, but I'm going based off the highest because that's what Twitter says.
I was gonna say, Jesus, that is a lot of money a month for a chat AI app. But second, I think Muskie himself is just greedy because I don't know if this had any weight or depth to it whatsoever, but I heard that he was also planning on buying Reddit and a couple other social media platforms, and a lot of people were literally outcrying saying, no, please leave it alone. Because I think at the time when he bought Twitter, a few people were like actually happy with the idea. But now that people have seen what he is even doing with Twitter, and the fact that, like you said, buying a check mark at this point literally just gets you made fun of, I think people just want him to leave it alone.
Really quickly, I do want to mention that there was a huge talk about a Twitter email, X mail, whatever it's called, which again still sounds like a not safe for work website. I'm just gonna say it. Uh, a lot of people seem genuinely excited for it and said it's gonna topple over not only Gmail but even Outlook, which confused me because a lot of them are done like Outlook for security. And I do want to talk about a couple points we may have missed or covered over in a bit here. So I'm gonna pass the mic.
What I think is, if Twitter wants to do anything, they need to lower that price, or maybe let you have, or maybe make it an add-on you could add to your premium plan, because I'm pretty sure most people are not going to be buying Twitter Premium for their AI. But from what I understand, you can only buy it with Twitter Premium. So if they really want to compete, don't use a Twitter login as the first method. Use what is a company called XAI account instead. You're even asking companies who wanted to use your stuff to make a Twitter account, dude. That's kind of sad. Some of the other perks is something called radar, I believe. Let me double check this. Let me open Twitter quick. But the other perks it's supposed to give you is, I am not pulling this up right now. Definitely not. It's asking me for $833 a month. Okay. um that's a bit much. It's asking me to subscribe to the organization's run thing.
Just pay us your rent every month.
Yeah, that it gives you it gives you ad-free largest reply boost, so they're gaming the algorithm to make Twitter pay to win, literally. Rate articles which hardly get shown to anyone. Radar and their AI. Whoopee. Are they gonna make their pay when they launch their mail? Is it gonna be paid too? I highly doubt most people are gonna be paying for mail, because just look at Gmail.
Pay to
Gmail
read.
works. Gmail works fine. Gmail normalized free email.
Pay to read.
No. That is a thing they added. They added a readers mode that is in their subscription, I think. So it is pay to
There's
read.
no
So
way.
you're not. That's not even a
No.
joke.
Pay to weed.
No.
Pay to weed. Did they just send you cannabis every month?
Hell, I'd subscribe to that.
It's a lot more convenient.
But yeah, a couple points I wanted to make. I don't know if Elon Musk just loves naming things after random letters, but first it's X, then his kid was named like XAE12 or something, I don't remember what it was, and now I don't know if he's the one who made this, but Grok 13. Like, he is a very, very strange man. I'm not even going to get into the whole him paying people to play Path of Exile 2 and a few other games on his account and then claiming he's one of the best people in the world about it. But one of the points that Trevin Pro was talking about that we did gloss over was specifically more involved with the whole PlayStation being down for a week thing, and how they really should make something to not get around that but be more prepared for that, as in just like consoles needing a better offline mode in general, and the fact that if you take a game from PlayStation and then your PlayStation Plus expires, you literally are unable to play that game as a whole until you re-get your PS Plus.
For that, I think that having a subscription is fine. If you get more games from it, maybe it's okay you don't own those ones because you're not paying for them. They're free. But there are companies like Ubisoft that say you should feel comfortable losing access permanently and you cannot earn them back. You do not own any games you've paid for, you've bought them. And even with PlayStation 4, if you get, I don't know why they added tiers to the subscription. I've always hated that. As long as you have the correct tier, you can play the correct games that you've gotten before. So you always have access to them. It's just you need to have the correct tier for it, which sucks. Another one I think we skipped over was for the Discord one, there was a lot of Nitro only features, and the release date for I think it's GTA 6 or GTA 8 or GTA E and E. Can't really
Expanded,
read this here.
enhanced.
Yeah, I don't know what the release date or the Nitro Ready only features are, so I don't know if we want to leave that to you or.
I already covered it at the beginning of the podcast, mainly. So let me check the script. I think that's everything, right?
There was one more thing I added at the bottom. I don't know if you want to say that or not.
Ooh, you do it. Say it.
Okay, hold on. Let me. Since we're not going to go back to these, I'm just going to cover them. So we are going to try to add some more stuff to the Discord when it comes to the soundboard. I don't know how many people can use that. I always forget
Everyone.
how the soundboard works. Good. As long as they're in the server. I think it's for most people. And for people with, was it Nitro, you can use outside of the server.
Yes, sir.
Play a clip.
More
Don't
beats?
play any of the questionable. Don't play anything questionable yet. They can wait for that.
They can find out that themselves by joining at team84official.com/discord.
Which one should we play from our website? We have 8 to choose from so far. I do have one more I'm going to add after this because I find it funny.
Based.
That one's perfect.
Actually, I think I'm going to add 2 after this. And I do want to see if we can get more custom emojis to the forums because why not? Why not?
It's not about why, it's about why not.
We're the scientists from Jurassic Park. We're going to do some messed up things and you're going to like it. And then you're going to pay us with your lives because emoji dinosaurs?
Find everything on team84official.com. It's all listed there, guys.
Well, forums.teamofficial.com.
Or go to go.team84official.com/Feb25. So, go.team84official.com/Feb25 to find everything.
And pay us $833 a month so we can compete with freaking Twitter.
Yes, please pay us $833 a month so we can compete with Twitter.
We just pay us $2,000 for subscription, but actually like it and say we're good. Please, we're desperate.
If you don't want to pay $833 a month, you can pay us every year $10,000.
You see, we're just saving you money.
Anyways, thank you guys for listening. I think right. This is the outro.
Yep.
Yeah.
Thank you so much, Morning City. We were aware you were Night City at the beginning of this. We said hello, Internet, but now we get to say goodbye, Internet.
Goodbye, Internet.
Goodbye, Internet.